Hey, hello. It's not quite afternoon yet, but quasi good afternoon, good morning, I suppose. How's everybody doing today on this fine Tuesday? I just want to let you know, Superintendent Dan Cates just called. We have school tomorrow, so get over it. So, yeah, apparently a bunch of your parents are calling. Speaking of your parents, hey guys, if you get a chance when you go home, if your parents are on the booster board, please give them a big thank you from all of the Writers Week family, friends, and students here at Friend High School, because if it weren't for them, it would be awfully difficult putting this event on. Speaking of awfully difficult to put it on, big thanks to Mrs. Zank and Mr. Anderson. They're both incredibly modest, so they don't necessarily like all that attention, but you should know they work their butts off to make sure that this is great and lead the English department down a terrific path of getting this thing going from year to year. With that being said, again, thank your parents. Thank you for being a great audience. Please give a warm, warm welcome to our first presenter, and put all away all your devices and take out your earbuds, Julie Hines.
Hi, I'm Julie. I'm going to be reading a couple of poems that I wrote for my creative comp class. Shout out to them. Nice guys, nice cheering. Okay, the first one's called Where I'm From. I'm from the natural disasters that are brewing in my brain, the dangerous dance between hot and cold air, the shifting plates that turn refuge to rubble. Not just that, but the homes ripped from their families, the way the weak get hit the hardest, and I've gotten really good at trapping tornadoes under too thin of skin. I am from the place my mind winds up at when it wanders. I'm weightless, and I know someone somewhere is screaming my name, but I'm so far away that I can't hear and can only see my own thoughts. And I get one moment where all I have to do is exist. I'm from the tightness in my knees when I've been curled in a ball for too long on a floor in a bedroom that looks like space. It's endlessly black, but the Christmas lights I hung a week ago are stars, and if I squeeze my eyes tight enough, I think I can see the sun. I am from a tug of war with the girl that I don't want to be anymore, the one who only feels safe with her feet engulfed by her comforter and only feels okay when she's either asleep or so zoned out that she might as well be, and she can't figure out how not to be alone. I am from the way my coffee tasted on the first day I started to feel myself again, like how the earth smells after rain, bitter but like pine trees and damp air, and like the kind of promise that you keep. I am from pain and anger and bullets instead of thoughts, but I am from patience and a will so strong that it can't be bent by hands made from bleeding hearts and broken glass. But I'm not from strength. I am strength. Thank you. And the next one is called What You Taught Me. You taught me how to love a smile more than I love myself, how to love so deeply that only the light in your eyes can tip the scale, even when I'm sprawled out on the other end. You taught me how to wrap my existence around your own, how to turn myself to clay and cram into a mold that protects only you, but I do it so thoughtlessly because can't you see you're the only thing worth protecting? You taught me how to catch words as they slip off my tongue, through my teeth, past my lips, how to catch words before they reach you, how to stuff arguments under my skin because they're better there than under yours. You taught me how to build a museum in my rib cage, how to collect every twinge of anger, every piece of heartbreak, every opinion better left unsaid. You taught me how to lock up a moment before it happens and hide the key and hide it well. You taught me how to live when my chest is on fire. You taught me how not to ignite everything I touch, but sometimes the world needs a spark, and by now my fingertips have forgotten how to burn. You taught me how to bottle my tears when I'm in the shower, how to hold onto a sob and hug it tight until I can feel the cool kiss of my pillowcase on my cheek. You taught me how to carve a hole through my body in which to store parts of myself when they aren't convenient for you, how to hollow myself out to build a home for you. You taught me this horrible hunger that wants someone to love me the way I love you. And yeah, maybe it shouldn't hurt this bad, but you're the one who taught me to love a smile more than I love myself. Thank you. And next up is Bailey Dean.
Hi, I'm Bailey. Quick shout out to my 5th period creative comp class. So I'm going to be reading a short story I wrote called A Difficult Marriage. Mandy twisted her wedding band around her finger, contemplating why she had decided to marry Roger. It had never been easy for them, even when they were dating in college. Now as she listened to the dispatcher from her squad car in a Dunkin' Donuts parking lot, she had the same worries running through her head. All available squad cars are needed at the Museum of Modern Art. Armed robbery. The dispatcher crackled through her speakers over the quiet Christmas music she'd been playing. She took a deep breath, let it go, and shifted her squad car into drive before putting on her flashing lights and pulling out of the Dunkin' parking lot. It had started to snow gently. Mandy would have enjoyed it and the prospect of how beautiful the world would look blanketed in white by the morning, but she was about to go face an armed robber at the Museum of Modern Art. Not her idea of a beautiful evening. Christmas shoppers were everywhere as she raced through the city streets, getting closer and closer to the museum. She needed them to get out of her way so she could do her job, but every once in a while, one or two would be in the crosswalk, forcing her to stop. Every stop she made just made her more tense. Armed robbery was not as fun as movies and TV shows made it look. When she finally pulled to a stop at her destination, museum patrons were on the street, huddling together in their winter coats, waiting to see what would happen. Mandy got out of her car and went to see what she could do. The police captain was standing by his own car with a few museum security guards discussing the situation. As she got closer, she could hear them talking about the armed robber inside, catching words about the Monet water lilies and an underground group that ran art heists throughout the country. Mandy's heart sank. She knew who the thief was, and she had ignored all of the signs from the last 2 weeks. That whole time she'd watched him plan. She had to stop him now, before it was too late. "Captain," she said once she had reached them, "the Monet water lilies are a priceless piece of art. We have to stop them from being stolen. I'm going in." She didn't even wait for him to respond. Her last 11 years of training had been leading up to this moment. If only it wouldn't be so personal. Inside, the main hall of the Museum of Modern Art was a mess. Patrons had dropped everything as they ran from the building. Hats, purses, and little plastic figures of famous painters were strewn about. Mandy forgot about all of that as she found the stairs leading to the upper floor where she and Roger had seen the Monet water lilies only days ago. She took a deep breath, twisted her wedding band a few times, and trekked up the long staircase. When she made it to the top, she could see the thief at the end of the long hallway where the water lilies had been proudly displayed. He lifted the painting from the ornate gold frame and took a long look at it in the moonlight coming in through the skylight above. Then he rolled it gently and slipped it into a long cardboard tube. "God, you're so dramatic," Mandy said, placing a hand on her pistol at her hip. She'd made it halfway down the hall, and he still hadn't noticed her. "You know how much I love theatrics," the thief laughed, "and you know I can't let you win this one." She nodded and sighed, pulling out her pistol and turning the safety off. Might as well make it believable. The thief gave her a short nod, gripped the cardboard tube in his hand, and pulled his own gun. Mandy raised her pistol and let off a few shots, careful not to hit him. He followed suit, but with worse aim, and one of his bullets hit Mandy in her thigh. She went down just as a rope ladder came crashing through the glass ceiling, and the thief disappeared into a waiting helicopter above. Mandy called for backup, and after seeing that the thief had won, she was rushed to a hospital. A few days later, Mandy was released and Roger came to pick her up. As she got into the car, she noticed the long cardboard tube sitting in the back seat. As much as she loved her husband, she hated his line of work and how much it conflicted with hers. "How was your day, honey?" Roger asked after a few minutes of driving in silence. "How was my day?" Mandy stared at him in disbelief. "You freaking shot me." "That's how my day was. Thank you." And next up is Valerie Creamer.
Hi, I'm Valerie Creamer. Shout out to my 5th period creative comp. And I'll just be reading a poem. Suddenly you're there, nowhere, in the middle of an ocean, alone. Something broke your raft again. Your whole life has been a constant battle to stay afloat on the one thing between you and deep, dark, cold nothingness. You've been here before. It's colder than you remember. You panic. Fighting to keep your head above the water, to keep breathing. Your fingers turn purple, legs tired and numb. You take one last breath of air, too tired to keep fighting, then sink. That breath is the only thing you have left. You try so desperately to hold on to it. It hurts. The pain in your lungs is unbearable. You're not ready to go, though you've fantasized about finally reaching the bottom, often. You remember the times you've been hurt because of your blind heart. You gave too many chances purely out of love, though they didn't deserve it. It always ended up hurting you. Always. Staring into the darkness again, you think about the ones you loved, who will be waiting for you at the bottom. You missed her the most. She doesn't want to see you sink like she did. It wasn't her fault. She didn't mean to leave you. You know that. You release your breath, feeling relaxed. You look up and see the stars. They're beautiful. They speak to you. Water starts to fill up your lungs, but you can't tell. Time slowed down. You can't feel the pain anymore, though it is still there. You forget you're even sinking at all. You're not scared. You know you'll wake up and carry on. The only thing you don't know is just how many rafts you have left. Thank you. Next up is Rachel Anderson.
Hey guys, shout out once again to Mrs. Zank's 5th period class. And also to all my friends who came out to see me. Thank you guys. All right. The power of 15. It sounds very official, very important, very vague as well. This is the term District 211 uses to describe its goal of getting every single one of its students to earn 15 college credits during their high school career. Or in other words, take 5 AP classes. As a top-ranked school filled with high-achieving students, it makes sense that Friend would have such high expectations. And heck, when you look at the way Friend promotes its AP classes, you might even think they were fun. Well, if that's what you thought going into it, you might be disappointed. I could give you a million reasons why AP classes aren't as great as they sound, but am I here to rant? Yes, I am. One of the most distinct factors that separates AP classes from regular classes is the increased workload. They're college classes, after all. Students are expected to do the same amount of homework as a college student who has significantly more time to complete it. Isn't this kind of unrealistic, though? I mean, we spend over 7 hours of our day at school, and when combined with whatever extracurricular activities we're involved in and the amounts of homework we have, there's almost no time left. Forget free time, AP students barely sleep. I'm already a slow worker with terrible time management skills, so thanks to my 4 AP classes this year, I get an average of 4 to 5 hours of sleep each night. This is about half the amount of sleep I'm supposed to be getting, and it's not just me. Almost every time I ask a friend or classmate how they are feeling, they say they are tired. I'm sure many of you can relate to this as well. You can't blame the AP teachers for our lack of sleep because they're assigning the amounts of homework that the classes require. The only way that we're going to get more sleep is if we take fewer AP classes. Unfortunately, prioritizing health over schoolwork goes against Friend's culture of promoting AP classes. They weren't designed to be taken 5 or 6 at a time, but this is what happens all the time at Friend. Because if students who have never even taken an honors class are expected to take an AP class, then students who start out in all honors classes must be held to a higher standard. They must take as many AP classes as their schedules can swallow. You know how snakes can eat things that are much bigger than they are? How they have a huge lump sticking out of their bodies, they wait for their food to digest? Yeah, that's you. isn't okay. This was never okay. But wait, it gets better. Now let's think about those select few AP classes that have so much stuff to teach you, they're a period and a half long. You guys know that feeling when the bell rings at the end of class? That little rush of adrenaline, and suddenly you're awake again, sauntering down the hallway like you own the place, because for 5 brief minutes, you aren't trapped in your seat, nodding off during your 4th lecture of the day. Now, imagine when that bell rings, you're not allowed to leave. You still have 25 minutes of class left, so you have to sit there and ignore your racing heart as the hallways fill with chatter. And again, when the bell rings 5 minutes later. Yeah, that's me. Every day. Don't get me wrong, my 1.5 hour long class is interesting enough, but some days it takes all my willpower not to get up from that chair and walk out the door. Why? Because we've all been conditioned like Pavlov's dogs. You hear the bell and you're practically sweating, like you just ran a marathon. They say it gets better as the year goes on. It doesn't. But AP classes aren't all that bad. I mean, you get to spend an entire year preparing for a test in May. Oh, it's not just a test, they say, but it is. You study, you take it, you do well, or you don't. And if you don't, no college credit for you. You get a sinking feeling in your heart, not unlike when you walk into a friend's bathroom and take a good look at the towel you'll be using to dry your hands. Let's say you get a 5, though. Yay, you did it. You're applying to college, and Brown University is first on your list. Wait, they don't accept college credit? Ooh, bummer. I'm going somewhere that does take AP credit. I'm going to be a mechanical engineering major, and I won't have to take entry-level physics because I already took AP. Hold on. You're telling me that I have to take physics again? Even if I had gotten a 5, which I didn't, but that's beside the point. That's it. I'm done. I'm out of here. 2nd semester senior year, and I'm as dead inside as the fake fireplace in the media center. But what can I say? To quote the famous Mr. Bruce, you can't have it all. Thank you. Next up is Andrew Arnold.
All right, what's up, everyone? I'm gonna give another shout out to my 5th period creative comm class. And shout out to my old lunch table that they came here to see me this period. All right, so this is a funny piece, so feel free to laugh. Kind of boost my self-confidence. All right, here we go. So I love dogs. Like, I can't be more emphatic than that. I love dogs. And by the way, if you haven't noticed yet, I'm Asian. I'm like really Asian. In fact, I'm so Asian that they don't even let me into Petland anymore because, you know, I'll eat all the dogs. You know, sometimes I like try to sneak in, but then like my, you know, banana yellow skin and like the eyes, that kind of like, that could be blindfolded with dental floss. Yeah, it kind of gives it away. And just like anything else in life, being an Asian has its ups and downs. I think, yeah, a lot of you in this auditorium would agree with me. But my fellow Asians, if you change your perspective, you can see that being Asian's pretty great. And we all know about stereotypes, and honestly, for me, I think stereotypes are okay. I mean, let's face it, stereotypes generally usually stem from some truth. We're often the most worst drivers. I've had friends where I've like wondered how did they get their contacts in? And I'm sorry, but have you seen the math team? But if you look at these stereotypes from a new perspective, I think you'll really appreciate what being an Asian has to offer. For example, there's a common stereotype that Asians always get A's. I would say that I'm a good student and a pretty responsible kid. You know, whenever something bad happens, I'm usually responsible for it. Yeah, that was supposed to be a joke. Anyways, I would say that I'm a good student. You know, I haven't missed a single full day of school in my entire life. I scored in the 98th percentile for the ACTs. And most amazing of all, you know, I've received the pleasure to have in class comment all 4 years of school. Still, throughout the course of my life, I've received many Asian Fs. I think to all you non-yellow folk, it's called an A-. Let me personally be the one to tell you that it's not true that Asians always get A's. But I'm glad you think we're smart. I never understood why Asians get mad at the stereotype. For example, this one time my friend was like, "Hey, bro, you're Asian. Can you help me with this math problem?" In this same situation, I've seen some of my fellow Asians get just incredibly upset. And I don't fully understand why they get offended. Like, I'm not sure, but obviously for me, if I can, I'll help you with your math. I just need you to drive me home because I can't drive. I know I can't speak for the rest of my kind, but I don't think there's anything wrong with being stereotyped as a smart person. It's a compliment, if anything. Speaking about intelligence, y'all know about the follow-up question every single time, like someone says they're Korean, north or south. It's south. It's always south. Just trust me on that one. Also, there's the awkwardness of always being asked to speak my language. And I'm okay with speaking Korean, but I never understood why people are always like, "Oh, hey, can you say something in Korean?" You're not gonna understand it, so what's the point? It's like me asking a cow if it can move for me. It's just weird. That was a weird analogy. I apologize for that one. However, my language barrier does help me get out of sticky situations. Like this one time, I was at a party and it was getting a little out of hand. People were making bad decisions and being a little too rowdy for the neighbors, so the police come. And everyone's running out, and then there's me. I start walking slowly to my house because I live pretty close, but then a police officer pulls up to me. "Hey son, where are you headed?" I just stayed there in silence. "Can you answer my question?" "Oh, I'm so sorry, I don't speak English." Yeah, I got away home free that night. So, if there is anything to be learned from all of this, the important thing is to remind yourself to change your perspective every once in a while. I always saw being Asian as a social obstacle, but now I realize being Asian is kind of a blessing, even if it isn't a disguise. Even the most negative things can, create the biggest laughs. Thank you. Up next, I have the pleasure of introducing, an incredible kid. Let's give the biggest round of applause for Matthew Downing.
All right, so I'd like to give a shout out to Ms. Quinn's 5th period lit class. And to Mr. Cav's 5th period class. All right. Hi, my name is Matt Downing, and I'm a senior here at FREM. To start, I'd like to shed some light on what my condition, cerebral palsy, is. Cerebral palsy, or CP for short, is a neurological condition that can affect some or all of the following: muscle tone, posture, balance, coordination, gross motor function, fine motor skills, and speech. There are several different types of CP, each type varying in severity. Growing up wasn't easy for me. I remember feeling angry that I couldn't do all the things my brother could do. I would sit in my blue lawn chair at his baseball games, imagining that I was Chris Bryant stepping up to the plate. If you didn't know already, I am a huge baseball fan, especially the Cubs. There is nothing I would love more than to be able to play. My resentment for my condition didn't stop there. As I watched my older brother and then all my peers get their driver's licenses, I felt more and more alone. Sometimes I wish I could be born again as someone without CP. I've been going to physical therapy since I was about 3 months old. Even though I have been told there is next to no chance I'd ever be able to walk as I grew up, I made a commitment to never give up. The night before my 9th birthday, I had a vision that I would wake up the next morning and be able to step out of bed with no issue at all. But when I came down with a large bump on my head, I cried into my mother's arms. She told me that there wasn't any shortcuts that I could take, and that if I wanted something, I had to work for it. That following year, I doubled my physical therapy appointments. And now brings me to my first day of high school. I was excited to begin this new chapter in my life. Walking into the front doors of the building, I couldn't help but have the biggest smile on my face. But as I walked deeper into the school, I began to feel like I didn't fit in. I was the only kid who couldn't walk on his own 2 feet. Then, like a flash of lightning, I see a blue metal walker disappearing into the science hallway. Hoping my eyes didn't deceive me, I made my way around the corner to see a girl. Her name is Bethany, using a walker similar to the one I used to use. I have never gone to the same school as someone with the same situation I was in. Suddenly, I didn't feel so alone. Fast forward to my senior year. Coach Sponsor asked me to join the football squad and become their sideline manager. Naturally, I accepted. My most memorable moment of the season would have to be my big play on homecoming night. I remember it like it was yesterday. The stands were packed and my mom and dad were cheering us on from the bleachers. And the Conant Cougars had just arrived. Soon into the first quarter, we gained the lead, putting us back on defense. The QB takes the ball and drops back for a pass, sending the ball towards our bench. Nick Routine, one of our star players, jumped towards him in a daring attempt to knock him out of bounds. I jumped in front of Nick to cushion his fall, ensuring that he would not get hurt. Unfortunately, this turned me into a pancake and my walker into useless scrap metal. I opened my eyes to see the entirety of the team standing around me, making sure I was okay. The only words that could come out of my mouth were, "That was awesome." And honestly, it truly was. In that moment, I could feel the entire strength of Fremd High School right behind me. In the end, I am very grateful for all of my friends who have stuck up for me and stuck by me despite the challenges I face. I'll be the first one to tell you that it's not easy living with CP, and my family will definitely tell you that it's not easy having a son with CP. To have found so many loving, caring individuals in one school has been a huge help in every step of my recovery process. I believe that with hard work and dedication, I will walk on my own someday. Seniors, I will see you at graduation.
Give him one more round of applause, please. I think Andrew has a piece that he wants to share. Andrew? While he's striding up here, I just want to let you know that a lot of the people that you guys see over the course of this week have amazing stories, right? And you can always share those amazing stories at home, on your own, right whenever you can. You can also take creative writing here at Fremd High School, and yes, this is a shameless plug, and give yourself an opportunity to have an environment that's going to help foster that writing. So if you hear anything up here and you're like, wow, man, I wonder if I could do that, well, take creative writing and find out.
All right, this is a more serious piece. All right, here we go. They say you can't love at first sight. They say love changes, fades away into dust. But you have proven to me that that's not true. Day in and day out, from the moment I met you, you show me your true beauty, and my love for you has never faded, not even a little. You give me warmth, joy, and fullness, and I can never give back what you give to me. Yet every time I need you, you are there for me. My friends love you, so do my parents. How could they not? I mean, we've been together for 12 years now. You've been with me through thick and thin, and we've been to countless concerts, movies, and you've been to almost all my games and tournaments. And with the memories we've created, I can't wait to create a million more. I will love you forever and always, Taco Bell.
She's going to talk about cookies. Yeah?
Hi guys. So in my creative comp class, every Friday we usually do an activity where we get like a notebook, and every notebook has a different word on the front. So this is something I wrote a couple weeks ago, and my word was insomnia. I didn't know what time it was. I didn't bother to check. It was late, very late, and I couldn't sleep. A million thoughts raced through my mind as I lay in bed, stomach rumbling. I tried to focus on my breathing and nothing else. I tried to zone out to the radiator rattling under the window. I even tried counting sheep for Pete's sake, but sleep wouldn't come. My stomach growled, hunger eating away at me faster than the lack of sleep. I threw back the covers and tiptoed over to the mini fridge in the corner, careful not to wake my roommate. We hadn't been grocery shopping lately, and I prayed I could find something to quell my hunger. I opened the refrigerator to find a bottle of mayonnaise and my roommate's half-finished Dr. Pepper. Nothing else. I tried to think of where I could get something to eat at this late hour while my stomach groaned in protest. Then I had a moment of clarity. Insomnia cookies. Yes, that was a place that I could get food. I quickly dialed the number for the store nearby and placed my order for delivery. A few minutes later, there was a knock at my door. I quietly paid for my cookies and hardly closed the door before tearing the box open and sinking my teeth into the first cookie I could see. Creamy peanut butter, chewy chocolate chip, and simple sugar cookies were the perfect cure to my insomnia. Soon, I found refuge in my bed and the sleep I thought would never come. Thank you.
We've got time for a question or two, so if you have something on your mind or you'd like to hear something from someone else, or in terms of what they're thinking today, what inspired them, what you got, Big Dog?
Hey, Andrew, what's your favorite thing at Taco Bell?
The nacho fries. Okay, well, the nacho fries are like my favorite thing right now. But like, if it's like a random day of the year and they don't have nacho fries, I'll go for like the steak chalupas. All right, no one's with me on that one.
I like a good steak chalupa, Andrew. The best part is he said nacho fries, and Julie's like, be more creative than that. Awesome. Somebody else?
This is for everyone. What is your favorite line in your piece of writing and why?
My favorite line is I would imagine that I was Chris Bryant stepping up to the plate, because he's like one of my favorite baseball players, and I really admire him. So yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the I don't speak English one was pretty good. Yeah, I guess that.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess in the second one, you taught me how to build a museum in my rib cage. I like that stanza.
I like the joke about the fake fireplace because it's true and funny.
I like the line in mine, you know you'll wake up and carry on, because it kind of brings a little hope into my poem.
So I don't really have like a favorite line, but I really like the part at the beginning where I talk about how it's like snowing, but then like my character's going to stop an armed robbery, so she's like, this isn't my idea of a beautiful evening.
One more time, a big round of applause for our entire panel. Bell's going to ring shortly, so have a wonderful rest of your day.
Asian's breath smells like gingerbread, just smells like